Hey everyone, my name is Chloe. Welcome to day 23 of Deckoftbrathon. So the month is flying by and it has been a fun month. I have a lot of reading updates and a lot of bookshelf updates. As you can see, we have been working on the bookshelves this morning, as well as we baked, we did school, we cooked, I don't know what all we did. We've just been, I've caught the organization bug this week, and my girls are awesome, willing participants. And so, yeah, we've cooked, we've baked, we've done book stuff. We are just plowing along. But I was a little too generous with my spacing, and so I have extra books that won't fit. So I'm going to have to continue to finagle things here. But yeah, so that's a fun thing. It is beautiful to not have a blank space behind me anymore. So let's talk about the book things. So I finally finished The Secrets We Keep by Kate Hewitt, and Kate Hewitt, I feel like, is known for hard-hitting women's fiction, like really kind of emotional gut punches, dramas, like drama, women's fiction kind of thing. And this one felt different to me. And maybe it's because I read it 100% physically, that it felt different. But this one is about two women who go to a lake, like respective lake houses with their kids. One of them is there, I guess just for the summer. She's wealthy. She's got like a very not Stepford wife appearance, but like a very conventionally beautiful appearance and lots of money. 3 kids, a girl, boy, girl, I think. Yeah. And so she's there and her husband is not. Then next door is Tessa. She is the mom of 2, and she's there again without her husband to connect with her kids. She's got like an 11 and a 9-year-old girl and boy, and so she's trying to connect with her kids. On the first day there, the Rebecca, the wealthy one, kind of says, "Hey, why don't you guys come over?" and kind of like swoops Tessa and her family into things. Now there's some kid dynamics because one of Tessa's kids is kind of aggressive and just different kid dynamics going on. But the majority of this book is literally just them, build up. And we don't know why these women are not with their husbands. We don't know, because both husbands exist. They're back home. For some reason, they're not visiting, all that kind of stuff. And there's just caginess with both of them that we don't know. As the reader, we are not informed about what's going on. And I don't love that. And then in the end, we still don't really find out. I mean, we do, but I didn't feel satisfied with the title being The Secrets We Keep. I don't think there was a big reveal of secrets or anything like that that was the focus of the story. But in the end, there is something that happens that's okay, that took a turn. It says, "How do you keep your children safe when you can't even protect yourself?" Again, I feel like this cover and all of it does nothing for the book. It has nothing to do with the book. And so I really like Kate Hewitt, and the last 50 pages, I couldn't stop turning, maybe even 75. But it's 350 something, and the first 275 were okay, where are we going? Who are these people? What are we doing? And this took me literally almost 2 weeks to read because it just didn't have anything holding me into it. So what am I going to rate this? Probably 3.5. It's just by far my least favorite Kate Hewitt. And I think if it was on audio or something where I digested it very quickly, I may have better feelings about it. But because I read it physically and I have such small chunks of time to physically read, I felt like we were just not really going anywhere. One of the moms, Rebecca, she does end up going to rehab. So there's a little bit of that. But again, we're just exploring the relationship dynamics, and because we don't know either of the women very well, I feel like I wasn't that invested in the relationship dynamics. So there's that. There's my review of that. Then oh no, hold on just a second. Let me get the book I finished. Okay, so I also finished my audio, Betting on You by Lynn Painter. Now, I really liked this book. This book is a YA about 2 kids, or, 17-year-olds or something, who they meet at an airport. He's coming home from visiting his cousin. She is moving with her mom because her mom and dad have gotten divorced and whatever. So she's moving and they meet in the airport. He's really cocky cocky, confident. She's a rule follower to the T, and they don't really like each other. And then they meet back up later, and then again later, and they strike up a friendship. They're all working at I couldn't figure out like what it is. Like it's like a resort, a poolside resort of some sort. And so they're working there together, and they always get paired together. So they have like this bantery relationship that is really fun. And he kind of forces her to get out of her shell a little bit, and she, you know, whatever. They're good for each other. They're cute. And the betting on you thing, wasn't the main focus of the story, because they do place like bets. So there's a bet. Her best friend also works there, and she has a boyfriend, but she's kind of talking to this other guy. And so they like he says, let's bet. I bet they hook up or whatever. And she's like, no, my friend is going to be loyal. So there's kind of that. And then there's also another bet made, but the bets are not the main focus of the story at all. It's their friendship kind of becoming each other's like ride or die, and then their relationship, and then like the third act conflict and the resolution. And I liked this book. I liked our main characters. It's a chunky book, and I feel like that was good because it really got us invested in them. And so I really like this. As far as like content warning goes, there is language in this book. I had said in my last update yesterday, I guess, that it was not like gratuitous or over the top. And it's a really fine line for me. For me, I still felt like it was appropriate for the characters and the situation. There were a couple times where I was like, okay, that's a bit much. That's a bit much. And I think if you have a lower threshold, language is not usually a deal breaker for me. And so if you have a lower threshold for language, then there's that. I also would not hand this to one of my girls until they were probably like that 17, 18 age, when they are older. The other thing, there is some like, not steaminess, because it stays kind of age appropriate, but there's kissing and kind of heavy makeout scenes, and that is described as well. So this would not be something I would hand to my young child. But yeah, I think if you're okay with that, like heavy makeout scenes and some language, then you may like this. But again, everybody's threshold is so different that I'm not really sure how to quantify it, because for me it felt okay, for you it may not. So there's that. Then, you guys, I started my next audio, which was a book with a flag on the cover. So I did The Light We Lost by Jill Santopolo, and this is a book that Becca and I were going to read together, and she unhauled it, and it still sounded interesting to me. It is about Lucy and Gabe, and they meet on the day of 9/11. There we go. They meet because they're both students at Columbia University. So they are in New York City on 9/11, just slightly removed from the World Trade Centers. And they meet in a class, and they end up hanging out together that day, and they end up having their first kiss that as they're like watching the rubble. And that felt icky to me in the first, like that felt icky. However, I have been in really emotional, traumatic situations where it's like, okay, I could see that the like heightened emotion of the time draws people together. But I don't know. Anyway, so that gave me the minor ick. However, I kept listening to it because it wasn't enough to like DNF the book. Then so that ends pretty abruptly. He's like, nope, I'm still got this other girl, whatever, it ends. And I only listened to 11% of this, so I promise I'm not spoiling a whole lot. But so he goes back, and then they get back together at some point, and there is a scene that is, I don't know how to even say this in a way that's appropriate for YouTube and my kids who are probably listening over there in the room right next to me. There's a scene where they are doing things to themselves simultaneously, and it's just so graphic and so gross that I was like, okay, I don't want to read this. And then I went and looked on Goodreads for my friends' reviews, and I guess what happens in this book is like multiple years of them separating, coming back together, because he is a photographer, she is a writer, I think. And so he follows his like photography dreams and goes far away, and then they come back and forth into each other's lives. And it's supposed to be this like star-crossed lovers kind of forbidden thing that they're each other's one true love, but situation keeps happening. And I've heard there's more like icky scenes as far as like steaminess, but always also just like the ick of like, this is not appropriate, that we are not like emotional cheating and stuff like that. And so combined with the steaminess that happened less than 10% in, and it was like, just, I don't know, this was way too much for me. So I decided to DNF it and at 11%, which means the points do not count for that. So I thought, well, what do? Do I draw again and just pretend that draw didn't happen? And that doesn't feel quite fair. Like that feels like I drew a 9 and I need to read a 9 book. So I have one more that I found on my shelf, and we're going to just hope I don't get any more 9s, because it is The Women's March by Jennifer Schiavarini, and I've never read her before, and this is a novel of the 1913 women's suffrage procession. So I have not even started this. This is going to be my audio, and I feel like especially with historical fiction, I need to start it with my eyes, because I see it starts October 1912 in Brooklyn with one perspective, and then it goes January 1910 in Philadelphia, another perspective. And let's see. Then we go, I just saw the next chapter. It is May 1910 in Chicago, another perspective. And so I feel like historical fiction, I can get confused really quickly, and then I get the ick and I don't want to go back to it. So I'm going to try to start this physically, but we'll see if it happens. I may just go for it. And then it's June to July 1912 in Philadelphia and New York City. So we're going to see how hard this is to get into. It may be another DNF. If I DNF both, I'm probably going to count it as a, like, okay, I'm done with the 9s, but we'll see. So now we've eaten lunch. It is nap time, and we're going to go get, I'm going to go get everybody down, and I've got a list a mile long of things to do. So I'm not sure. I kind of just want to put my head down and do it. We've got multiple birthday parties this weekend, and I'm going to make all the kids water bottles with their names on it and stuff. So I need to do that. I need to do a soccer email. I need to get ready. One of my kids, every kid, every month on their birthday, so like the 24th or whatever, I take their picture, and so I have to make this board that says like the important things of the month. I would like to lift. I've got just things, and I've got book reviews to write. I've got things to edit. I've got planning to do for YouTube, because this weekend's going to be busy, so I'm not sure when I'm going to film, and I didn't film last weekend because we were on vacation, so we'll just see. Yeah, we'll see. So I don't know that there will be much vloggable, but I will definitely check in one more time. So we'll check in later.
The coffee's ready if you'll have some. Breakfast should be finished soon.
Hey everyone, so it's the end of the day. You can probably hear my daughter playing piano in the background. We're about to go upstairs and do Bible study and reading for the night, but I just wanted to get on and say goodnight, because I have not read a single thing. I did lift, I did soccer admin stuff, I did some book reviews, not all of them, and I feel like that's about it. I've kept the kids alive. We played down in the basement, gymnastics and music and all the things. And then we had dinner. We actually had crockpot soup, which is my favorite because it's like 70 outside and just lovely and kind of drizzly. So this piano is probably distracting. So I'm going to say goodnight, and we'll see you tomorrow.